Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
All right, everybody. Okay, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy. And we're doing, I think, an industry first right now. We are simultaneously live streaming in the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group in front of 18,500 members. Simultaneously, we're on youtube.com/Sean V. Bradley TV in front of almost 15,000 YouTube subscribers. We're in Clubhouse, and we're also on a bunch of other Facebook pages, and so this is going to be kind of exciting. So I just want to I want to get the moderators, and so for Clubhouse, if you guys could start pinging everybody in here to the group. Malik, I'm going to put you in to speak, and Chris, here we go. All right, so let's get started, everybody. All right, so I would like to welcome my esteemed panel. We have Danny Zaslavsky. Danny is the dealer principal of a dealer group in Kansas City, Country Hill Motors. He's also, we call him Mr. September because he was on the cover of Dealer Magazine in September. He's been a speaker at Digital Dealer, at the Internet Sales 20 Group. He's just an all-around brilliant tactician. And then we also have got another nationally recognized, super famous guy, especially on Clubhouse, is another one of my really good friends is Rob Ruth, the dealer principal of Bob Ruth Ford. And Rob is just an amazing, both of these guys are amazing. But Danny, if you could share, there's been a slight change of plans, guys. Another dealer principal is supposed to be in the panel. If you could share, he's in Texas, Scott Nottingham. Danny?
Yeah, Scott Nottingham, Sulphur Springs, great guy, great operator. He got a ton of respect for him because he's kind of got the all-American dream story. I mean, he started low on the totem pole in a car dealership and ended up taking out loans and buying a car dealership and learning the ropes. And unfortunately today he's in Texas, and they obviously got hit with snow, and he hasn't had power for a couple of days and has some pipes blown up at his car dealership. And then he has some farm animals that are struggling and dying. So he had called me 20 minutes ago and said, "I'm really sorry, but I can't be on the panel today, but I'd love to recap later." So he had to bow out, but he gave me a bunch of his notes and gave us permission to share some of them. So I'll be sharing some of that today as well.
All right, what I'd like to do is, Danny and Rob, if you could open up your Clubhouse apps on here, it'd be good. The reason being is that I want to be able to take questions from the Clubhouse panel, and the room is starting to fill up too on Clubhouse. So if you guys, I want to bring you guys to the stage on Clubhouse. Danny, you're on there. Rob, I don't know if you signed on Clubhouse yet. No, I don't see you. And once you're there, I'm going to put you on stage there. So again, Danny, can you start while Rob and I are getting Clubhouse today? Can you explain what today's focus is? Because this is your brainchild about stop paying vendors to advertise your competitors.
Yeah, and so thank you. I'm going to start talking about this because I feel really passionate about it, and I want to make sure that we understand that there are some absolutes here, but there are also some things that are not absolute. And so the first thing I want to talk about is the car business. I mean, this is like a redundant thing. It is changing. It is continuing to change. And so like when I grew up since I was 14 in the car business, and people used to drive around and show up and then look at my cars, and then to get data to understand what they're going to look at next, what would they do? They would drive to the next lot, right? That obviously has evolved in a huge way because of the internet, but technology doesn't stop evolving, right? So if anybody in the software business, like software is never done. Well, what is happening in our industry, it is being challenged by software with people with good intentions and people with selfish intentions, which includes Carvana, Vroom, online digital retailers that are what I feel I'm going to be as bold in saying are cancerous, because I see deals falling off my board and I'm sitting there going, why are they falling off my board? Well, there's this hidden thing that's happening where consumers are being told that the shopping experience is so easy to go and shop on Carvana or Vroom and buy cars. And it's simply not true. So I want to talk about that. And the reason that the vendors came up is because there are vendors out there.
Can you take your mic off of Clubhouse so they can hear you through Clubhouse?
There we go. Is that better?
Yeah, probably. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. So the thing that I want to talk about today is there are vendors out there, digital vendors, AutoTrader, Cars.com, Car Gurus, TrueCar, Carfax. There are ones that are on our side as dealers, and there's ones that are not on our side. And our responsibility as business owners hasn't changed. It's to step up and understand, what are we paying for? Why are we paying for it? And not just being complacent and saying, here's money, go solve my problem. I don't understand it. I just trust you. Those days are, I wouldn't even call them numbered. I think they're past.
So, Rob, what's your thoughts about Danny saying as a dealer?
Well, I mean, I agree with Danny 100%. I mean, the car business, it's changed so much.
Take your mic off the Clubhouse, buddy. And Danny, I don't see you in Clubhouse. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, it's off now.
I keep getting an echo if I do that. Sean, I'm going to have to. Anyways, everything's changed. Our customers have changed. The way we do business has changed. The way we buy cars has changed. The way we sell cars has changed. And, you know, what that comes down to, and Danny and I talk about this a lot, we have to change as dealers first on the way that we're looking at things. And we have to partner with the right people that are going to help us evolve and part of this transition. So Danny and I are good friends. We talk all the time. I mean, we have the same passion of, we grew up in the car business. Our dads, we watched them, you know, as car dealers. We've grown up around car salespeople, technicians. We've seen it all, and we want to make it better, not just for our own store, but for all of us.
So let's go back, if I can, that we set the stage on this here. Is like, Danny, how this whole thing started several years ago was this whole thing with one of the vendors. We don't need to get into the name of the vendor, but there is a parasitic vendor out there, an online classified, that, you know, kept on changing prices. Again, we don't need to mention the name, but can you kind of explain what that situation, what the hell happened that just pushed you over the edge?
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, what started originally was, there we go. I'm in the room now. So what started originally was I was looking at vendors going on and putting a fair deal, good deal, great deal online. And I was like, okay, well, how is that? Like, what's the weight of that, right? And so it's easy to imagine that it's year, make, model, and what? Price. So I was like, well, maybe I need to be more competitive. And so I started adjusting my prices, but then it hit me like right away. There's so many things that I do as a dealer, reconditioning, dealer exclusive items that like certification and warranty and all these things that aren't being weighted on that third party site like they should be. And then consumers think we're the bad guys. Because there's always been this kind of us and them with consumers and auto dealers, which is what I'm saying is there are way more good auto dealers out there than there are the few that are bad. So I went head to head, and I'm going to just say it, with Car Gurus, and I didn't like their practices in doing it. And when I dug deeper into their algorithm and what they were doing at the time and allowing dealers to say, hey, just go into the back end and start clicking options to power book your car, and you'll just be higher on search. I mean, like, raising my hand saying that is wrong. And they've got a much larger megaphone than I do, because they're affecting way more consumers and they're affecting way more dealers. I'm a little guy in Kansas City. And so when consumers are going to their site and seeing my cars as a fair deal, when I know it's a great deal, I mean, that's simply not wrong. That's simply not right. And so that's what happened back then. But that was the start of me deciding, am I going to be just somebody who complains, or am I actually going to do something about it? Right. So, hopefully we get a chance to talk about that today.
Yeah, let's go into that for a second. So the main problem that I had seen with that whole situation, and I hear the echo, that's what you're talking about too. So what I would say is the main problem that I see with that whole entire situation, Danny, is that here you are as a dealer, and you're paying. Yeah, this is not going to work, guys. The way I was
get off Clubhouse, buddy.
I'm trying to do the Clubhouse thing. I'm going to have to go in through this way. All right. So Danny, what I was going to say is this, is that the major problem that I see here is the fact that you're as a dealer, you're paying money as to a vendor to provide you a service. So let's just say, forget about them changing the prices from $2,000, $3,000, $6,000, $12,000 or whatever it is. The big problem is that literally the name of this title is Stop Paying Vendors to Promote Your Competitors. Can you talk about that? How frustrating it was that if you're spending X amount of dollars to get people interested in your pre-owned vehicle, right? And once they find that vehicle, they're telling other people, hey, even though this is the vehicle that you were interested in, other people looking at this and they're advertising to competitors. Can you talk about that?
Sure, absolutely. And Rob, I want to kind of, maybe you and I can talk about this a little bit. I'm spending, a little over 20 grand a month on third parties. Okay. So let's be clear. It's not like an on and off switch. This is like a dimmer switch. You have to, there's gray here because vendors are still important, but knowing which vendors are giving you the ability to actually drive organic traffic to your site versus using my money to use my data, my cars, and promote themselves. Big difference.
So first of all, we talked about, the good, fair, excellent price, whatever you want to call it. That's only relative if dealers put the right information in, right? Mm-hmm. So that's not even fair. And that's how they're kind of comparing us. But what happens to the consumer when they expect that this vehicle has navigation and it doesn't? I mean, that makes us look bad. And it's not even standard across the board. So the way that they're evaluating us needs to change as well. But yes, we need to find new ways to get that customer's attention other than maybe just relying on those third-party vendors that you're talking about.
Okay, so again, thank you everybody for the patience. What we were trying to do is we're trying to stream in front of like literally tens of thousands of people on Facebook, Millionaire Car Salesman group, on YouTube, and we're trying to, leverage Clubhouse. I figured out, Danny, what you guys are gonna have to do is just leave your mics off on Clubhouse, and I will just turn around for us, be able, through the speakers, be able to kind of like go through there. So for everybody that just came into the room, just to reset the room, it's stop paying vendors to advertise your competitors. So we've got two different dealer principles that are both nationally recognized that have profound success online. And what Danny and Rob are talking about is, certain vendors that are taking your money and, they're not really respecting, the client, the dealer. And, they're literally taking that money and they're using it to generate more leads and generate more traffic and, directly advertising your competitors. So without beating this to death, Danny, like this is how this whole started, is that you just were, instead of just taking it over and over again and just being the victim, one thing that I really respect about you is that you're not the victim. You said, okay, look, this is a problem. I mean, there's literally been thousands and thousands of dealerships that, that join the Shame on You Car Gurus, like that whole campaign in the group and online. But you were the one that said, you know what, let me do something about this. So can you kind of talk about what your strategy was to take back, your own inventory and put it in control of you? And can you just talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right after we hear from a sponsor.
Attention auto dealers. You need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads. I mean, high quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and/or zip codes. And as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
Auto Credit Express is the leader in subprime auto financing. For over 20 years, we have served the online consumer, working to match the best dealers with consumers who need their help securing financing. With more than 250,000 leads per month, Auto Credit Express is the authority for dealers who understand that the special finance deal generates a higher gross profit. We've worked hard to innovate our solutions, bringing you Buyer Assist to drive consumer text engagement. building out robust solutions to help the underserved Spanish-speaking community. We now deliver proof of income on our leads through our proprietary STIPs feature and are building dealer-branded social media marketing campaigns to help you, the dealers, build your brand. Contact Auto Credit Express today to learn how we can help you own your market for subprime finance. Sell more cars with higher gross profit and partner with Auto Credit Express today. Mention the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast for a special discount today.
So let's have some agreements for a second. And so I think we all in our world have short attention spans. So I'm going to do my best just to deliver here. So data is the currency we're talking about. And in our world, cars equal data, right? A VIN number. That is what we own when it's in our inventory on our websites. And when we give that data away to a third party, we want them to respect that data, because in return, we want customers coming back to us. I think that's a fair barter, right? And so there are questions that we as dealers need to be able to understand, to ask when we're talking to third parties. And I want to draw a contrast between cars.com and CarGurus for a second, because it's an easy one for me to talk about. If I look at them strictly as lead providers, right? Strictly as lead providers, how many cars are they selling me? I could go as kind of a short-term goal and say, cool, I've spent $7,000 on CarGurus to get this many leads that converted into this many sales, and I spent this much money on cars.com to get this many leads, to get this many sales. And let's say cars.com is performing less right now than than CarGurus. But the long-term game, when I zoom out and look at it and seeing how they're using my money, and by the way, both are publicly traded companies, so this is Googleable. This isn't insider info. You can just look this up. CarGurus is spending twice as much money on advertising your inventory to their site. So what I noticed after I actually dug in is my gross per copy was way less on consumers coming from CG than other vendors, because I was getting pencil whipped, because they were looking at data like, well, this dealer has had this car on the lot for 74 days, and that's a negotiating tactic. Like total brain damage to be able to go that way. So instead, I took that money and I used it for VIN-specific targeted advertising, which means I have a car, and the data is out there to know what consumers are now looking for that car, because they're clicking on sites like CarGurus and searching for cars. Right now, I'm using their data to win for us. I know the consumer's behavior, and now all I got to do is not retargeting, but target, like actually target. Say, hello, here's my truck. You show behavior that you are looking for a truck like mine. Come to my website where my truck exists and let me show you the value, not just why I'm priced right, but also that I've done $1,200 worth of reconditioning, brakes, belts, tires, hoses. I've certified this vehicle. I put a 6-month, 6,000-mile warranty on it. I have a team here that will give you a great experience and deliver the vehicle for you for a test drive, or deliver it for you for a purchase, and actually do the things that I'm in business to do when I can get in front of a customer.
So Danny, again, I want to, because this is a little bit weird for Clubhouse, because it's only my profile that's speaking. For the people that are on Clubhouse, the reason why is because we're doing a live stream in front of tens of thousands of people in the Millionaire Car Salesman group and on YouTube. And so there'll be a double echo. So what you're hearing, Danny Zaslavsky, the dealer principal of a dealer group in Kansas City, Country Hill Motors. And then you've got Rob Ruth, who is the dealer principal of Bob Ruth Ford in Pennsylvania. So even though it's only coming from my profile, those are those voices that you're hearing. So Rob, do you have similar experiences that Danny had as a dealer, having vendors? And again, you don't need to mention any names, but do you have that same frustration and exasperation that you're spending all this money on, whether they're third-party providers or they're online classifieds or they're, subscription lead providers, but these people are really not being dealer-friendly to you? They're just taking the money and running, and worse, they're advertising to your competitors?
absolutely. As a dealer, I mean, I'm trying to find the right things to do. If we're going to make an investment in marketing.
A little louder, sir.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I said, as a dealer, I'm trying to figure out where to spend the right money. Where do I spend my money that we can get the highest ROI, right? And the problem is you get all the information from maybe the vendors that we're talking about, and they're all telling you, oh, you're doing amazing. You've got all the right data. But something in the back of my mind is not agreeing with that. So when I speak for a dealer, I'm speaking because I don't have all these answers. I'm trying to find them out just like every other dealer or general manager, general salesman, whoever's in charge of the marketing. We're trying to learn what Danny's talking about and understand it ourselves instead of just throwing money to these vendors and them being taken advantage of.
And let me just jump in here and say that, and I think Danny and Rob would say, not all vendors are parasites.
I agree. That's not what I'm saying, Sean.
That's not what we're saying at all.
No. I know you're not, but I want to, when people come in the room, and I just want to know that this is not like a vendor bash session, because Danny even said there's a clear distinction between Cars.com and a Car Gurus. I'm huge fans of AutoWeb and Cars Direct. To me, they're not like a True Car or Car Gurus. They're different. So there are vendors that provide value and that are dealer centric, not, let me just swoop in and inflate my stocks and try to make a couple $1 billion and leave a bunch of dealer bodies in the wake. So for people that are listening to this is not anti-vendor at all. This is anti-parasitic vendors that are preying on dealers. And I want your guys' opinion on this as dealers. I think that 20 years ago, this was complete voodoo to dealers and witchcraft with marketing. And so vendors were more needed. But now in 2021, I mean, Rob, can you talk about for a second? I am so proud that you're my client because, what you have with Lexi and your team, you have a full digital team and you have the ability with Lexi and her team to be able to do what some of these vendors are doing, but in-house. Can you talk about that?
And you're 100% right. Having a team here that is working on this stuff every day has helped me so much because we started as a small dealer and we kept growing, and marketing was something that, hey, I had to figure out, and I have an hour here on Tuesday, I'm going to figure out marketing. Now, I've learned things through that time, but I want to hold people accountable. I want to hold those vendors accountable. So they're not just giving me information, I'm just taking it. I want to understand it. I want to make sure that, our team here knows what we're talking about and we understand the information versus just listening to it and making those decisions.
So can you tell us, what type of people do you have on your marketing team? If you could kind of go through the roster.
So I have Alexis, my daughter. I have Jamie and Steph. And they all have different roles, but they all work together. And we all have a common goal, and that is to, maximize our marketing dollars and create the most amount of activity for our dealership.
I'll elaborate. So they do everything from strategy, like marketing strategy, to content creation, whether those are graphics, those are videos, it's social media. And again, it's a hybrid. You still have vendors and you still have people that are deploying some of the stuff, but instead of being a helpless, ignorant dealer that doesn't understand AdWords or SEO or what have you, you have an intelligent digital team of multiple people that are working to liaison with your lead source providers and your digital marketing partners. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yep.
Okay. And from what I heard you say is that's one of the key important variables to your scaling and your success is that, like you said, you started as a small dealer. Again, when we started working with you, you were doing 75 cars on the internet. And you hit 317 and you closed with 300 last month online. I mean, that's not bad for a store in a population of 2,500. So Danny, how important is that? What Rob is saying, is that he has a digital team that speaks digital that could really work with these vendor partners, hold the vendor partners accountable.
It's incredibly important. I mean, I remember at your Internet Sales 20 group several years ago, we had a meeting to talk about changing your org chart in your organization and shifting some of the old roles that aren't important anymore and shifting into roles that are meeting the customers where they are. And so the fact that Rob has that is such a big deal. And even BDCs are evolving in a big way in the accountability and responsibility there. And it is hard to figure out the landscape at the moment on what tool do you use and what solution to use and how to use it. But if you start with the questions in mind first, I actually wrote some of them down. And Rob, this is stuff from you and I talking about, like, what does a customer want? Trust, transparency.
Trust, transparency.
Yeah, good communication, right? So we provide that. Like, we know how to meet them where they are using tools to text the consumer, give them values, all that kind of stuff. Personal shopping right now is a really big deal. I mean, that is, let me give you one example. We know from data that a customer doesn't buy the first car that they click on. It just doesn't work that way. They get online, they shop around, even if they spend 30 minutes, an hour funneling down to a specific car, 9 times out of 10, when they drive that car, they're like, this is not what I thought. I need to drive something different. All right. And so that is one of the biggest advantages of doing business with a local dealer versus an online vendor. When you actually have a car that you can test drive, understand if it's the right vehicle, understand if it meets the needs, get so many questions answered. And then when the ether wears off, you actually have somebody to go back to for any issues, because it's a used car. So things will happen. And my point in that is that automotive dealers right now own the ground game, but we are giving it away slowly. It is eroding. And I want to be loud in saying that we have an opportunity, and I'm doing everything I can to keep that erosion from happening. Rob's doing everything he can to keep that erosion from happening. But currently, it's like a wave that's coming, and we have the ability to just listen, notice every time that wave makes a noise, and then fight it, so that we can be in front of our customers, give them a digital experience, give them an in-store experience, team up with vendors who actually care about the dealer winning, ask the right questions. And then this is where, Rob, I would love it if you talked about what you're creating with your VIP experience, because I think it's huge.
Yeah. So our VIP experience, like you said, it's meeting the customers where they're at. Okay. The customer has changed, where it used to be you would market and they would drive from dealer to dealer. Now that traffic, that marketing sends them to the website. Okay. Which goes to our BDC. Now, instead of just trying to get them in the door, our experience is we're going to give them the information they want. We want to, if you want pricing, we're going to give you pricing. You want trade values, we're going to work with you remotely to give you trade values. We're going to work up payments, get credit approvals. People want to save time, right? So we provide them the information that they want, how they want it. If a matter of a test drive, if they're local, we're going to bring the car to them for a test drive, or we'll do a virtual test drive. When we agree to terms, we can do their paperwork online. They never have to leave their home. And then when it's time for delivery, they've got options. They can come in and they can have a 30 minutes or less time they can spend here at the store, or we can deliver to them in all 50 states. So to me, I know how I would want to be treated if I was buying a car, and I want to treat that customer how they want to be treated as well.
So Rob, if I can, I want to go over last month's numbers with you guys. You sold, I think it was like 350 cars approximately last month?
It's more like 300.
It was like 300. And how many of them came directly from virtual? This blows my mind, people.
From BDC?
No, not BDC, from virtual, because your BDC has two models. You have the traditional BDC model where you sell the appointment, they come in, but then you do something very unique where you do full virtual, not digital retailing, but virtual, where you're using Zooms and video and you're trying to do the whole presentation and transaction before they come in. So how many virtual deals did you do?
I'm going to say about 100. So about 30%.
Do you freaking realize this shit is crazy to me? You sold more cars than the average full-blown dealership virtually, meaning completely before they came into the dealership. So for our listeners, this man has 100 people buy their entire process, or go through the whole entire process to buy a car before they step foot into the dealership, and either A, deliver the vehicle to their home or office for free, or they brought them into the dealership just to pick up the vehicle and have them less than 30 minutes. Is that correct, Rob?
Yeah, it's not always for free. I mean, long distance, if you're buying from us, I mean, there's a charge, but people pay for value.
Okay.
We're just trying to provide them value.
So again, was that scary for you to change your model, to go from having a traditional dealership to where you shut your showroom down, and your showroom is pretty much a big BDC, and you have a modular building outside that you do deliveries? Am I correct?
I do.
Okay, so was that not scary for you to do that?
We'll find out right after this message.
Don't be the last one with your hand up at the auction. VinQ Vehicle Buying Center gives dealers the digital and in-store tools you need to buy direct from the public. On average, inventory bought from the public grosses $1,200 higher on the front end alone. VinQ turns buying cars direct from the public into a business. The most profitable dealerships in the country are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in additional front end gross. Private party acquisition starts with VinQ. See it at VinQ.com.
At the very first Dealer eProcess keynote, Gino Ciparroni and Sam Vukas introduced new tools and strategies to drive conversion, new designs to increase customer engagement, and new technologies to dominate the competition. Visit dealereprocess.com/keynote to watch and see what's new in 2021.
Everything's scary, you know.
I love it. I wanted you to say that.
You just have to take risks sometimes. And this didn't happen at COVID. This happened when I first met you. That's why I was looking for answers 3-4 years ago, because the customers are changing. Our showroom traffic started going down. And maybe it's just because where we're located. And we were still spending the marketing dollars. And I was trying to figure out what's going on. But we were getting more phone calls. We're getting more internet leads. And we weren't handling them correctly. So this didn't happen just now. This has been evolving and getting us to this point, and it's not going to stop. It's not going to just say, hey, now COVID happened, it's a certain way. It's going to keep going, and the customers are going to expect more. They want transparency. They want an Amazon-like experience. We can't stop that. And we have threats out there, and we have disruptors that are coming in, and they're just taking our market share because dealers don't want to hear it, and all they want to do is say, hey, when things get back to normal. It's not going back to normal. It's not.
Amen.
Danny?
Yeah.
So again, one thing that I really love what Rob said is that this didn't just happen now. This has been evolving. And you know what's crazy for me, guys? I have a different perspective than you. I started last century, 1999. I've been doing internet sales for almost 22 straight years. I've been doing internet sales. And I remember in 2001, 20 years ago, I was selling 100 plus cars a month out of my internet department at Cherry Hill Nissan, at Pine Belt Nissan, Kia, Cadillac. And I'm floored that, 20 plus years later, so many dealers are really not embracing this new evolution. And again, Rob, I baited you with that question. I said, were you scared or were you nervous? And you said, there's always fear. There's always nervousness. But again, like when you're working out in the gym, I mean, it doesn't feel good to do 1,000 push-ups or, bench press stuff. You've heard that phrase, no pain, no gain. If you are not pushing yourself out of your comfort level, you're not going to evolve. You're going to stay in a state of a perpetual stagnant. You have to keep evolving. Danny, so what's some of the things that you've done? Like one of the things that I'm so impressed with you, I'd like you to talk about is your vehicle buying center concept, because can you share your vehicle buying center, your VBC model?
Yeah, totally. So this actually was born a few years ago. It was born like 5 years ago. My dad had a stroke, and he was our buyer. He was the guy who went to the auctions and bought cars. And when he had a stroke, it changed the way he showed up. And we always worried as a family business, it's like, gosh, if something happens to dad, like we lose a big chunk of our business, because it's like, we don't know the secret sauce of how he's doing all the buying and all this kind of stuff. And the truth is it was scary. But we figured it out. And from pain, an idea was born. It was this vehicle buying center. Now, we're not the first ones to do it. CarMax has been doing it for a long time. Other dealers have done it. So I don't want to claim that I invented this, because I did not. But what we are working every day to perfect is the process of it. And so I started looking a couple of years ago for, I don't write technology, but I know what we need as a dealership, right? And so I found a startup that was willing to work with me to build some of this technology, and that company is called VinQ. And I invested in VinQ because these are local guys, smart guys in a smart group of people that believe what I believe, that dealers can win the ground game. And so we created a vehicle buying center. Now, let me explain what it is. The whole goal is simple. We want to buy cars from the public, period. All right. We know that if we go to the auction, the last guy with his hands up also paid the most. On top of that, I mean, you're competing with experts, right? And so you're being raised the whole time. On top of that, you're paying fees, post-sale inspection, sale fees, transportation, whatever. It's like by the time you get it, you're praying that you can get some back end because you don't have any front end profit left on that car. So it's not fun. And add insult to injury, the consumer thinks that you're the devil. So it's a really hard thing to an environment, whatever ecosystem to live in. So what do we dealers know that we're good at? It's providing great customer service. It's being good people. It is meeting consumers where they are. And private party acquisition works the exact same way. So we hired a person that is now evolved into a team of people to figure out the science of buying cars from the public. And we created a vehicle buying center, both a digital vehicle buying center and a physical process. And so am I allowed to share my screen, Sean?
Yeah, you can. They can't see it on Clubhouse, but you could share your screen for sure. There you go.
Yeah, I'll talk through it. But so here's my website. And Rob has just started doing the same stuff. So I'd love to hear some of his success on it.
Tell them the URL.
Yeah, so countryhill.com. If you go to my website, on the website, there's three things. It says buy from us, refer to us, and sell to us, right? Simple call to action. Most dealerships say, oh, yeah, we buy cars from the public. I'm like, cool. And I go to their website and I go, where do I go to sell my car? Oh, just go to the trade-in tool or Kelley Blue Book instant cash offer thing. And it's like, okay, cool. Let me give their data to KBB. That sounds like a winning solution. Instead, we want to own the whole consumer experience. So on our site, click sell to us, takes you to a form. And it's super simple. It says, we have a CarMax across the street from us. So we were bold and said, hey, we pay up to $250 more than CarMax. Then you can put in the information. So let's just do one right now. Honda Accord. Sure, I have an EX. I'll put in, let's autofill my information. This thing's got 45,000 miles. Get instant offer. Boom. How quick was that to get an offer on a car? Then it spits out this awesome report for the consumer, tells them what we're willing to pay for it, trade for it, and even gives them data if they want to sell it on their own. So because those are the options for a consumer. And then when you scroll down a little bit, we even tell them, like, dude, if you want to sell it on your own, it'll probably take you about a month and a half, and you're competing with 62 others in the market. But if you trade, we have 9.475 sales tax credit that you would get, $1,300. But if you want us to buy it, we're between 13.2 and 14.4. But I got to see it, and I'll give you the number on it. And here's some cool data. And then I've already gotten a text message in the meantime on my cell phone as a consumer where I can just start talking to the consumer. So like, check this out on the back end. Here's our digital process. So I log into VinQ. I go to the vehicle buying center, and there it is, 17 Accord. Here's the offer. I can open it up, and I can see it. I can scroll down and see, okay, how did we come to this data? There's all the live market comparables. There's all the sold retail transactions. So these are cars leaving the internet. I can see what they're going for. And there's wholesale transactions, all for this car. And then if I want to text the customer, I can just do it right here. I can just click, let's say I want to firm up the offer. I'm going to give them between 14 and, actually, let's go high. I'm going to give them 15,000 to 15.2 because I'm competing with another. And I'll say, hey, I just sweetened the deal.
So Danny, just explain what you're doing. Like there's somebody blind because Clubhouse can't see this. So just talk through what you're doing.
Yeah, this is a digital front door for the dealer to be able to communicate directly with consumers. So all I'm doing is tightening the offer up and then putting in my number and then send the offer to the consumer. Send offer now. Now I just texted the customer and check it out. Here, I'm going to open my phone because I use my number. There's the text message. And I can just start, thanks for the offer.
Wait a minute, Danny. Somebody from Clubhouse, I think, just texted me and asked me if I sell this. Absolutely not. This is not.
You want to, Sean?
Like, guys, this is like, I know people like do shit like this as an infomercial, but I don't. Danny actually is a partner in this company, not me. You know what I mean? Danny is a Dealer Synergy client. Ruth is a Dealer Synergy client. I'm a trainer and consultant. My job is training and consulting. I don't have products that I sell other than my Bradley Demand virtual training platform. But if you are interested in this tool, Danny not only owns several car dealerships, he's also a partner in VinQ.
Yeah. So you can use my tool. You can use another tool. I'm just talking about vehicle acquisition, private party acquisition. So back to this. You can see that the little text message came back up. I can open it back up. Here's the text, and I can start texting the customer back and forth. That's it. And that's the start of our vehicle acquisition process. Now, if we go back and think like, why did we do this? Well, because we were making $600-800 gross per copy on cars we were buying from the auction. Cars that we buy from the public make on average between $1,200 and $1,500 more per copy than cars that we buy from the auction. Why? Not because we're paying any less for them. It's because we're actually paying what they're worth. We're not competing with other experts to raise the price of the car. We're not paying all these different fees. And then I'm creating relationships with customers on the ground, meaning they're going into my CRM. I'm working with them. If they want to trade out of the car, I'm working with them in service in the future. I'm selling them future cars. We're doing good business, which is what we've been doing since the first car dealership. And that's what I'm trying to protect and continue doing that.
This is pretty incredible. Also, folks, just want to let you know on Clubhouse, again, this is stop paying vendors to advertise your competitors. We have two real strong dealers. We've got Danny Zaslavsky of Country Hill Motors, and we've got Ruth of Bob Ruth Ford. But I also want to give some acknowledgement really quick. We've got a powerhouse. The number 2 car salesman in the world is number 1 Toyota truck salesperson in the world. The number 2 Toyota salesperson in the world is Cody Carter. My man Cody, just recently, I think it was December 2020, so a couple months ago, he sold 139.5 cars in 1 month on the showroom floor with only one assistant. And it just blows my mind. And then obviously we've got my team at Dealer Synergy. T got your keys, my daughter Tiana. Then we got Joe Calitz, Director of Operations. We got Karina Bradley, aka Karen Bradley. We got the Young Jedi, and we've got also GSM of a $50 billion dealer group, Lithia, which is Roy Davila. And again, we got Alex, who's a dealer as well. I mean, on the panel here. So the whole conversation is look, dealers have the power and damn sure the money and the resources to actually do a lot of this themselves. They don't have to be reliant on parasitic companies that don't appreciate, respect them, and worse, take their money for their services to promote their competitors. So this has been, we still have some time, but this is pretty incredible here. If you're on Clubhouse, make sure that you follow not only the people on the panel, but make sure you follow all the people in the audience. We all provide value. Just because you're not on the stage at this second doesn't mean anything. But what I'd like to do is this, guys, before I let you guys continue talking, is I want to start taking questions. And so if you're in Clubhouse right here, or if you're in the Millionaire Car Salesman group or through the live stream, if you've got any questions, Tiana's going to be moderating the Millionaire Car Salesman and reading off questions there because I can't see the Millionaire Car Salesman off my laptop. But if you are in the Clubhouse and you got a question for our panel or you got a question for me, please just raise your hand and I'll bring you to the stage so you can ask some questions. But as we're doing that, what I want to do real quick is Cody, are you there?
Yeah, if I'm here listening. listening.
Okay, that's what's up, brother. So listen, guys, I want to let you guys know. Do you guys both know Cody Carter?
No, but now that I do, we're hiring Cody.
Listen, I don't want to be bougie and say you can't afford him, but
I know I can't. But I had to put it out there. If you don't ask, you don't get.
I'm only fucking with you. So listen, Cody is brilliant, but what I want you guys to know is because you guys are super progressive dealers. If you guys don't know, he's got his own website. I'm gonna let you hear it from him directly. Cody, can you tell everybody a little bit about your background and specifically about how you sell like 139 cars in a month?
After a message from our sponsor.
Auto Credit Express is the leader in subprime auto financing. For over 20 years, we have served the online consumer, working to match the best dealers with consumers who need their help securing financing. With more than 250,000 leads per month, Auto Credit Express is the authority for dealers who understand that the special finance deal generates a higher gross profit. We've worked hard to innovate our solutions, bringing you Buyer Assist to drive consumer text engagement, building out robust solutions to help the underserved Spanish-speaking community. We now deliver proof of income on our leads through our proprietary STIPS feature and are building dealer-branded social media marketing campaigns to help you, the dealers, build your brand. Contact Auto Credit Express today to learn how we can help you own your market for subprime finance. Sell more cars with higher gross profit and partner with Auto Credit Express today. Mention the Millionaire Car Salesman podcast for a special discount today.
Hundreds of dealers have switched to VinQ in 2020. For a limited time, VinQ will match any special trial offers the other guys are throwing out there. With VinQ, replace 5 systems with one solution: market pricing, inventory management, wholesale and private party acquisitions, advertising, and reconditioning. Don't miss out on the chance for better data, increased churn, and higher gross per sale. Stop competing on price alone and start competing on value with VinQ. Request a live look at VinQ.com.
Yeah, so I am Cody Carter. I work for Tustin Toyota in Orange County, and I've been with Toyota almost 10 years now, 5 at the current location. And a few years back, probably 3-4 years ago, I started out with, prioritizing leasing specifically, and, went from building out a little spreadsheet where customers could find it to December 2019, I built out a full-blown website, which is retrackauto.com. Basically, it's my last name, Carter, spelled backwards. And that's my brand, essentially. And it's all geared towards leasing. Customers can create an account. That way we stay compliant with Toyota. And they can go in.
He's breaking up a little bit.
My wife is calling.
That's okay.
And basically, you can view every lease deal on every car. You can view different terms in regards to miles and length of term of the leases. And it just builds this real transparent buying experience for the customer, where once they select a car, it'll send me a lead. And from there, it's a lot easier to transact with the customer. I just, hey, I got these 4 different colors. Will any of these colors work for you? And if so, I can send you a spec just to verify all the options. And it becomes really easy to customers. Like, yeah, I like a white one.
Pay attention to questions.
Does this one work? Yeah, that works. Here's the credit application. That way, when you get here, it's in and out as quick as possible. Managing that many customers, it needs to be extremely streamlined. And I'm constantly working on the website. I was talking with the developers today. Hey, I needed to add this. And we're constantly updating it.
Cody, wait, real quick. Cody, guys, listen to this. Okay, so my panel will be here. Can you tell everybody how much you spent on the first version of your personal website? Because it's not a Build-A-Brand website. It's a custom site, correct?
Yeah. It's a custom site. Round 1 was $10,000. I just sent another $5,000 today for the next version.
And no, I don't sell websites. Nobody asked me. I'm not peddling websites. My point is that how freaking strong is that a salesperson invested $15,000 in their own personal custom website? But Cody, tell them how many leads you get off of your website and how many cars you average off of your own personal website.
80% of what I'm doing is driven through the website at some fashion. The other 20% would be previous customers or referrals that don't even know about the website itself. But I'm getting hundreds of leads. Was it end of last week? There was one day I had over 30 leads in a day, and they're not going to close immediately, but they do close at a high rate. Sometimes it's 3-4 days that I just need to wait for a certain car to come in. But the leads on a personal website, they're a lot more committed. They're ready to buy.
Listen, you know what I'm thinking when I hear you talk, Cody? I think of Denzel. You're like the white Denzel, and you're like, King Kong ain't got nothing on me in Training Day. I mean, like, that's just crazy to me, bro. I mean, what you're doing. So I want to ask my panel over here, and this is the reason why I invited Cody up here, and I want to ask Roy Davila in a second, and then Alex, the follow-up question, but I want to ask my panel first, like Rob and Danny. Like, okay, I see the minority, the vast minority of salespeople doing what Cody's doing, or even trying to do what Cody's doing. But if I'm a dealer principal, I would want to try to create more Codys. I mean, like, Danny, like, your instinct was, I'm hiring. I mean, like, no shit, I would be too. But like, why, like, dealers stifle their salespeople from being like agents like this. So, like, I want to know, like, would you love to have like 1 or 2 Codys or even half a Codys at your store? Rob?
100%. He's making it easy for the customer. That's the whole thing. He said it. He's using technology and he's making the transaction easy for the people he's doing business with. And he's shortening the cycle of the time. And he's branding himself. Yeah, I'll hire him in a second. How much? Let's go.
I might even work for him.
Yeah, Danny and I can bid against him.
Yeah, Danny. Listen, you have a bidding war, Cody. I want a 10%.
Block.
Okay. So Danny, for you, like, same thing, but like, like, you're good at selling cars, but you're great at buying cars too. So can you imagine having a vehicle, buying specialist like a Cody Carter on your team? Yeah.
Well, okay. So first of all, Cody, I don't know if you can hear me, but congratulations on like being the change that you want to see in the world. I think that is humongous. And I'm not better than this. For many years, I had the scarcity mindset where I thought like somebody else is going to get to it first, or I'm not, whatever. It's just like this defeatist scarcity mindset, and you do not have that. And I have outgrown that. And so as a business owner, whatever industry you're in, when you can let go of that scarcity mindset and your team can actually be creative to drive their own sales to their own website and do things as a human, because that's what we are. We're humans connecting with other humans. That's it. And so, like, simple, stupid, right? So big kudos to you on that.
So, Cody, there's a couple questions here. We got Bob Harwood has asked a question on Facebook live stream, and he said, "How are you driving traffic to your website?" Now, Bob, don't freak out when you hear this, because this is pretty crazy. Cody?
Sean, I love to give you a hard time in regards to advertising dollars spent, because currently that's 0 to date.
I want to punch you in the throat.
It's always crazy, because it's like when you talk about advertising, like, it would be cool, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm at a point where we're close to overwhelmed. Advertising would make it even crazier. I would need additional help, which is on the way. But 0 spent. It's all.
It's amazing.
It's different forums.
Amazing, right?
That's amazing.
I think they want to throw a punch you too.
It's nuts. It's community driven, really, because it's you become friends with a lot of these people, and I have some of these customers that, when it comes to referrals, they're like super customers, right? If I got a crazy deal, I'm going to post it, send it to this guy, because he's going to tell 50 people about it, and and just I've become an asset to a lot of these different forums.
Yeah, wait, Cody, stop for a second. Rob, is Lexi there?
He is.
Okay, awesome. This is where Lexi really needs to like pay attention on this point right here, because she could do something super good for you guys. Let me explain and kind of elaborate, because what people don't get it's not just magic. What's going on is that for years, Cody was using these spreadsheets to explain, like, to create these lease programs. So Cody, can you explain, your process? So he's doing these stupid deals. So if you guys can open up in a separate browser and go to retrackauto.com, and the first thing you're going to notice, which, Danny, this is the crazy shit right here, he forces everybody to sign up. So not only is this guy getting 300 leads a month, he's making everybody freaking sign up and create a login and password, because he has to, or else Toyota would smack him for compliance, because you can't advertise the way he's advertising unless it's a closed site. You can't advertise it to the public. So not only is he spending $0, he's getting fucking, prospects to put their name, phone number, and creating like an account to log in just to see the deals. But Cody, can you explain, you have this unique leasing process where, you just explain it yourself.
So I do a lot of different parts to it. I always kind of say it's advanced leasing, right? Because we'll work the Toyota system to the best of the ability. I've done security deposits. We're doing one-pay leases. We're doing, anything that I can do to maximize the program that's available. But beyond that is we have third-party lease companies that we use to our benefit, where I have 4 or 5 different leasing companies to go through. So when people used to make the comment like, oh, that 4Runner is never leased good. Well, now it's like I can lease. It's always going to lease good because one bank is always wanting to compete for that particular market. And so even right now with COVID, where prices are sky high on vehicles and it's making it difficult for people to want to pay X, Y, Z. I'm selling a 4Runner right now at $1,000 over MSRP, but it's like selling it for under invoice at every other dealer. So my payments smack everybody else's. So it's good for growth. It's good for volume. It's just being creative. So
pause on that for a second. I want you to hear, audience, what he just said. So because he is probably one of the most advanced lease experts I've ever come across in my career, he's able to put these stupid lease deals together. One of his secrets is that he's not using just Toyota Financial. He's using a myriad of different banks and leasing companies. Cody, I never asked you, do you lease used cars?
We're really close to that. I'm doing it with I've done a few current body pre-owned cars, but I'm working with a credit union right now that's going to offer a lease program where they actually, every night, they take what inventory is available and they set a residual automatically. And that way it's real easy. And we'll eventually, probably next year, be offering it on my website.
And I'm going to say, Dan, I know that you're an independent dealer group, but I deal with David Blassingame, who is an independent dealer from Richardson, Texas. He's the president, and he's a brilliant genius. And I deal with Ambar Motors in Miami, and there's different companies, especially Highline pre-owned cars that you could lease. And again, there's just so many different ways you could weave in and out of it. And basically one of Cody's huge selling points is, Cody, be really specific. What would a traditional Tundra lease go for, for like the average Toyota dealership in California versus with you?
So just this weekend where he called me and said, hey, sell that truck because I was just at this other dealer and they were telling me it's $2,500 down and it was like $650 a month, right? We were selling it still at MSRP, but we were at $1,000 or $1,200 down, and we were at $430. Now we were hundreds of dollars different in payment. So
dealers, so Rob and for Danny, like this shit, it blows me away. Like what he just said, he's at list, he's at MSRP, and he's hundreds of dollars less. And so it's just amazing. And that's what his whole website is. It's like crack to these people in California, like crack. It's car crack. Is that they just cannot get, enough of these deals. So that's why he spends $0. Like he spends $60 a month on hosting, but he spends $0 on organic optimization, $0 on paid search, $0 on social media. And he's selling 80% of his 130 cars off of his own personal website. So I'm saying, for the love of God, people on Clubhouse, on YouTube, and the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, if a salesperson could do this shit, then absolutely these dealers need to be focused on this. So what do you guys have anything to say about that?
So, I mean, the moral of the story here, I think, is the fact that dealers own the ground game, and people that recognize that we're in front of the customers and we're being innovative and we're using the resources and technology that we have access to disrupt at the ground level. That is what's going to keep us in business for my kids' generation and their kids' generation. So, hat off to you, Cody. That's huge.
Rob, any thoughts?
It's unbelievable. And it just shows the opportunity for dealers. I mean, that's a single salesperson selling more cars than the average dealership.
More than 40%. He's 40% higher than the average dealership. 40% higher.
unbelievable. I mean, I have the utmost respect for that. Good for him. And what we were just talking about, that should wake dealers up. We have the same opportunities. We have to be creative as well. We got to find them, come up with our own creative solutions like Cody did, like Danny's doing.
Absolutely. I want to ask Roy Davila. You there, Roy? He's from Texas, and he's with the Lithia organization. Roy, you available?
While we wait for Roy, let's hear from a sponsor.
At the very first Dealer e-Process keynote, Gino Ciparroni and Sam Fukas introduced new tools and strategies to drive conversion, new designs to increase customer engagement, and new technologies to dominate the competition. Visit dealereprocess.com/keynote to watch and see what's new in 2021.
Attention auto dealers. You need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high quality leads. I mean, high quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and or zip codes. And as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
Yes.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. So, Roy, what do you think? You're a GSM of a gazillion-dollar dealer group, one of the most powerful dealer groups in the country. What do you think about what Danny's saying, about, not wasting money to vendors to advertise your competitors? Stop paying vendors to advertise your competitors. What is your thoughts on that?
Man, I think it's brilliant. And, I was fortunate enough to be a part of the town hall we had at the IS-20G, which I went home with a lot of great info, and we had some input in that as well. But I mean, just because I'm with Lithia doesn't mean that I'm with one of their 400, 500 car stores. I'm with one of their baby stores that's barely been in operation 2 years. So the first year in operation, they lost $1.2 million. We took over the second year. We turned it to 1.3. But I do fall catalyst to a lot of the pricing games that our sister store, which is only about 15, 20 miles away from us, can play. They're a 300 car store. They're established. They've been in the community for 20 plus years. So what I found with a lot of these, car gurus, cars.com, I'm pricing a lot of my inventory, but I think they're getting a bigger spike in leads, and it's helping their inventory more than it is mine. So we use social media, we use Facebook Marketplace, we use, we try to do a little more grassroots with it. And that's how we've been able to make a $2 million swing in this store instantly. And mind you, we did it with all the same salespeople that the previous crew had.
And guys, I don't know if you know this, but wait to hear this. Can you tell us what you're averaging your gross per copy?
New cars, it's over $5,000.
Over $5,000 on new cars. How the hell? I know the secret, but how the hell are you doing that?
We price competitively. We do the promo pricing, which is a Lithia brand thing, but we hold to our addendums like crazy. Our guys are assassins when it comes to the addendum. On trucks, it's about $39.99 added to each truck, and then on cars and SUVs, it's $29.99. We do a really good job of UA and trades. We're out there old school, touching trades, feeling vehicles, touching tires, and then we do a lot of EMI. Our managers are involved as soon as the customer.
Early management and invention. You're using jargon for some of the puppies that are on here. You know what I mean? So let's go back really quick to the addendums, because our guy Rob Ruth is a truck guy. He's a Ford dealership. So and Rob, do you guys use addendums at your dealership?
Occasionally, but
occasionally.
It's, we do so much online. And we try this transparency and be very transparent. You don't want to make the mistake. You put the addendum on the lot and you don't have it online.
Right.
I mean, kudos to him. That's great. That's amazing.
Hey, can I say something?
Yeah, please, Danny.
Roy, first of all, I remember hanging out with you at IS-20G, so I'm excited to do it at the next one. I just pulled up, and I'm going to screen share, but for the purposes of those on just listening, I pulled up my 2020, right, which is a weird year, and looked at my lead. I use Vin Solutions to look at leads by source, and I want to reiterate, not all vendors are bad, right? Cars.com has been my number one provider of not just leads, but organic traffic. Does that mean I'm going to stop advertising with all vendors? Absolutely not. CarGurus still puts my information on there. The reason I don't like them is because they use my money to push people to their website versus with cars, I get traffic to mine. And I can see that on my Google Analytics. But the majority of my spend, the money that I'm using, is to get VIN-specific advertising to get consumers to my VDP. That's the goal. Why? Because that's where the value is. The value is with our people. That's where our investment is. The investment's with our people. That's where again, back to the idea that our cars are our data.
Really quick, there's a question somebody had about the URL. I'm assuming that's Cody Carter. It's retrackauto.com. And it's basically his last name, Carter, from Cody Carter. So it's retrackauto.com. That's Carter spelled backwards. Sorry, Danny.
No. It's awesome. I just keep getting excited because by having the conversation, it reiterates kind of our strength as a dealer group to it's really not that complicated. We're people connecting with other people, and our customers are needing problems to be solved. I mean, that's what sales is, right? It's solving somebody else's problem. And I've seen these ads like that Carvana has of these people sitting in a chair in their front yard, and a Carvana car pulls up or a truck pulls up, the car comes out, and they're like, oh, they're so excited. What I think they don't show you is the other side of it. When the customer walks up to the customer and goes, I didn't see that scratch. They get behind the wheel and they go, wait a second, this thing doesn't drive like I thought it would drive. And then that truck is gone, and there's restocking fees, and there's no service after the sale.
1 second. Get Roy.
We have I just hired a marketing guy who's doing a bunch of promo videos for us and stuff. And the dude's a genius, man. I love he puts a fun spin on marketing. So after that Super Bowl commercial came out, he's about to cut it, and I'll post it on the group whenever he's done with it. But it's that exact scenario.
Yeah.
You're waiting outside, the truck pulls up, the family's all happy, and they're looking at their vehicle, and all of a sudden the record scratches, and you see the dent, you see the ding, you see a little bit of rust sitting under it, And it's like, man, I didn't see all those things online.
And what consumers don't know is they're buying cars, they're bidding against us in the same lanes that we are.
Yep.
Absolutely. So let me do this real quick, guys. I wanted to say hello to Alex. Alex, are you available to talk, sir? There we go.
Yes, sir, I am. What's up, Sean?
What's up, brother, man? How you doing? Welcome to the stage, man. Can you tell everybody a little bit about you? And then I want to just ask your opinion on the conversation as a dealer.
Yeah, man, I'm just sitting here mesmerized by Cody, man. Cody's amazing. I've heard him actually before in other rooms, and this guy's just a beast. And I'm thinking, I did the math, and man, he's saving the dealership over $700,000 a year in advertising, because 139 deals a month at $465, which is national average NADA for advertising. Man, you're saving your dealership $750,000 in advertising. So that's amazing, Cody. That's incredible, man. You're one of a kind, sir. You're extraordinary, which means you're doing extraordinary things, man. So my hat's off to you, man. And I used to sell Toyotas, and I was so proud of myself that I sold 36 cars a month. Man, you're making me look like a chump, man. But that was back in the 90s. But great job, Cody. And yeah, Sean, I'm a dealer. I came up from the ranks and sold cars for 8 years, and I was in management for 10. And I kept working and grinding it out every single day. And I now own 4 franchises and 5 rooftops. And I'm really, really proud of everything I worked for, because it hasn't been easy, but it's been definitely worth it. And I've heard your story, Sean, and we have similar stories. And it's just a blessing and honor, and I'm very humbled to be here with you guys.
Oh, thank you, brother. Listen, much respect. Thank you for being on here. What do you think about Danny Zaslavsky and Rob Ruth as far as, the topic about paying vendors to advertise your competitors versus taking ownership of these things and doing them in-house? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, that's like the dream come true. And actually, I'm thinking about Cody, and I'm like, dude, that's what made us so successful at Capital. We took Capital from 200 units a month to 800 units a month, the number one Chevy store in Texas. And it was because a lot of people were doing videos. They're doing their own marketing. They're being involvement in community, just like Cody talked about. So honestly, this is just getting me pumped up and making me realize that I have to really instill this culture and really have our salespeople work their network more than they are right now, because really that's the key to success, because we can't just rely on advertising. And man, I spent a lot of money in advertising. I spent $300,000 at one store, $200,000 another, $200,000 at the other. I spent $700,000 a month in advertising.
Jesus Christ.
Which is crazy, right? But, you're talking about 1,500 units combined, which is, I get it. It makes sense, kind of. But if I had Codys, if I had freaking 55 Codys, then, man, I'll pay you $1 million a year, Cody, to come work for me. If you can just clone yourself, buddy.
Wow, so we have a bidding war here. I listen, if this dealer synergy shit don't work out for me, I'm going to be the next Jerry Maguire here. I want my percent. So listen, Alex, do you know Danny? You guys really need to connect. Same thing with Rob, Ruth, and this is like the new 20 group. You know what I mean? This is Clubhouse and the Millionaire Car Salesman, Facebook group. This is like a cyber 20 group. You guys definitely need to connect. And so, Danny and Rob in the Clubhouse app. That's Alex right there, with the blues. You definitely need to follow him and connect with him offline. Now, Alex, thank you so much for sharing, brother. Like, you know what I mean? I love having you part of this. And if there's any other questions, please, please feel free to ask the audience or me. But we also got another person that I haven't seen in Clubhouse myself is my man, Michael Engel. He's part of a dealer group, the Jim Shorkey group. Michael, you available, brother? So Michael's got the cat on him.
Yeah, I'm here. What's up, man?
What's up, brother? What do you think of the conversation? You know what I mean? With Cody and Danny and Rob, what are your thoughts?
Well, hey, first off, the conversation's incredible. I've been hooked on Clubhouse, and this is why. Because, to be sitting here in the middle of the day on a Wednesday, I'm working, but in the background, I can listen to guys that, are really quite incredible. I mean, he said it before, they're extraordinary. What Alex has accomplished, I've been following Sean's story for years. Mr. Ruth, great job all through COVID, all you did to advocate for dealers in Pennsylvania and plowing through and then coming out on the other side on top, what Danny has accomplished in the fight with car gurus. And, it's just an incredible group of people. And here I am sitting here in the middle of the day on a Wednesday, grinding it out. I oversee 3 stores right north of the city in Pittsburgh, and we are 12 rooftop dealer group. We got 12 stores. I run 3 of them. I got 250 employees. I don't have enough time to breathe or think, but here it is on a Wednesday. I get to listen to some incredible people talk about advancements in an industry that I live, eat, and breathe. I love the automotive industry. I love stories like Sean and Alex and Cody, and just people that just bootstrap themselves to success. And so the blueprint, the storyline's there for everybody, but like we always go back and talk to, it's about execution. It's about having the commitment to execute on a daily basis. It's people, it's process, and I had an old dealer that used to always tell me that an organized process, not talent, will produce consistent results. So everything that I do, I try to teach process. And so that's what you guys are talking about. You're talking about extraordinary processes and next level processes, but it's still process. And so I'm just grateful that I get to listen to you guys. So I don't normally try to hop on and talk just because I'm kind of working deals in the midst of it. But Sean, I appreciate the invite, and please keep the conversation going because you guys are all incredible.
Absolutely. I got one more, and then I'm going to toss it back to Danny. Okay. So, man, we got a special, Michael, we got another one here. We got Damien Bordeaux. Damien is like Gambit from X-Men. You know what I mean? Like when you hear his accent, because he's from Louisiana. That's my man right here. He also, when he sold cars, I found this out recently, he sold 102 or 106 cars. He's the one, Rob, that co-authored the book with Ali Reda, how to sell 100 cars a month. Said, Damien, thank you for blessing the stage here, man. Say hello and just give us some of your insight on what you've been hearing.
Well, I love the fact that the dealers are looking at ways to reduce their advertising dollar and make it more efficient. I've always thought that this $620 or whatever it is now per unit in advertising is horrifying to a salesman because, hell, they're making $400 a car and you're paying the advertising guy $600 a car. a unit to sell to get the traffic, and anything we can do to reduce the amount of dollars going to advertising so that it can stay in the store, stay in the community, I'm all for it. I really believe we need to really rethink how we advertise and market ourselves. And I do think there's this hidden button, right, that internet lead providers have had over us, where it's like, oh my God, they're laughing at us almost at some point, right? So I love the conversation. I'm grateful we can brainstorm on Clubhouse. I'm grateful for, of course, Alex, my buddy. I've worked with him for years, and Sean, thank you very much, and everybody. This is a great way to learn from each other, and I hear dealer perspectives, which I love, because I need to hear your perspective. I need to understand your world as good as I do the salesperson side, right? So thank you very much for y'all being honest and open and vulnerable, and let's help each other.
So Damien, I have one question for you though, because what you do is you coach high performing salespeople. You don't work with dealerships. You work with high performing salespeople. And like how does Danny and Alex and Michael and Rob, how do they find, and once they find the proper candidate, how do they cultivate a Cody Carter or Damien or an Ali? Like, how do you do that, bro?
Well, so first of all, you'll have to have a career path. Like, it's not just about selling a car. It's not about careers lasting 30 days. It's not the end of the month that counts. If you hire somebody, let's find a way to build a career. Let's have a 5-year plan that says we're going to evolve your business, where we're going to start from a transactional model of doing business, where we're masters at teaching you at. We have trainers in all kind of ways and accountability measures to hold you accountable and help you get that transactional business. But immediately upon coming into the industry, introduce them so they can marry transactional business with a relationship model that brings in their community, their tribe. And as they grow their business, somewhere between 1.5 and 3 years in the business, they only wait on their customers. They only wait on their community. Now you have no advertising budget going toward these salespeople, except what you want to, give them to build their community, footprint. This is a great question. It is about relationships. The business of this business is relationships. Yes. It is people. But if we don't have managers who are staying longer than 6 months to a year, and we can't retain salespeople because they'd rather go into finance or management, nothing wrong with that. But there's more money in building a career in sales, and that's the place we have to start. We have to look at career path. We have to look at transactional and relationship selling. And it's not just about repeats and referrals. That's crumbs. It's about integrating their community and their family into the dealership model.
Man, thank you, Damien, so much, brother. I want to, like Danny, I want to toss it back up to you, brother. So what is your thoughts on like, this has been an amazing session, and I don't want to go too much longer, but I want to put it back to you because this was yours. Can you reset the conversation to and give us like an executive summary of this conversation and what you were trying to articulate?
Yeah. Well, so I've taken like a page of notes from everybody who contributed today. So thank you. It affirms me that we're not alone. We're kind of all feeling this stuff throughout the country. And what I want to kind of bring us back to is we're here to disrupt the ground game. We as dealers, we own our cars. That means we own our data, and we choose who we share that with. And we are here to connect with our consumers and do it in a way that wins their business. Now, the other side of that, and I can't stress this enough, but if we want to be able to continue acquiring vehicles in a way that protects our gross per copy, we got to get serious about private party acquisition. And private party acquisition works in the same way that regular leads work, right? I mean, organic private party acquisition opportunities convert higher than when you buy them from Kelley Blue Book. It's the same. It's like the same thing. but get serious about working with your customers to buy cars off the street so that you can get them into your store, create those relationships, because that is one of the most effective ways that you can stay in your community and increase gross per copy, do good, and fight against the online digital retailers that throw out a number and still pencil whip the customer with fees in order to get the car shipped or whatever the heck happens.
So we have somebody that just posted, they raised their hand, they want to ask a question. I'm going to let them come back. So Daryl, you have a question, sir, a statement?
Just a statement, actually. It's so funny that we're talking about private acquisitions. That's exactly what I'm doing right this second. I sent out, as a general manager, I tried this last year, pulled up 25 deals from it. And I did it this morning and already dealing with it. Basically, I just sent out a simple email telling people I want to buy their car. If they want to buy mine, great, but I at least want to buy theirs. If you're not doing it in some way, somehow, you're definitely missing out. I don't know who was talking about it.
Danny Zaslavsky, you guys got to connect. Daryl is on the Danny. Get the app. That's him right there. Listen, Daryl, I've been doing this for 22 years, and this guy is, a beast. You know what I mean, Daryl? Like Danny Zaslavsky here is a beast at the whole VBC, and it is, pretty awesome. Okay. All right. So let me turn around and I'm gonna let Rob basically, jump in, Rob, and if you want to close us out.
Yeah, I think the main thing that we're talking about here is there is opportunity for us. We've been threatened and things have changed, but if we think different, if we evolve as car dealers, you got Cody Carters of the world by themselves doing things. So we as dealers need to look at ourselves and look at, our whole staff and where are those opportunities and not be scared of them and figure out a way to get it done.
Okay. So again, guys, we're over time on here. I wanted to be able to just say to everybody, I just want to say, everybody, thank you so much for this. We're doing a 7:00 clubhouse with Karina, my wife, on time maximization and, work-life balance. I mean, Danny and Rob will tell you she's phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way better than you, Sean.
All right, so everybody, I'm gonna close down now. I'm getting blown up over here, so let me turn around, just close the room down, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys so much for being part of it. This was, one of the newer sessions that we're doing. We're gonna try to do these things on a weekly basis, but I thank everybody on here. Make sure you follow everybody and keep in touch with everybody.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sean. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you, Danny.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is sponsored in part by Internet Brands, Dealer E-Process, VinQ, and AutoWeb. If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.